Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Coffee with Father James. And just as I sat down, I realized I forgot my coffee. So I've Googled a picture of a coffee cup and I've got it right here, and very tasty. Actually, I used to have, in the early days of iPhones, I had this beer app where your whole screen was like a big mug of beer, and as you went like this, the liquid went down. It was really fun. So, but that's it for coffee today, I'll tell you. But I'm here at the St. Anthony's site. This is Farrell Street, right behind me. I always remember Farrell Street because my great-grandmother was a Farrell. Maybe I'm related. And behind me is the St. Anthony's location. I want to give you a little bit of a history and tell you a little bit about our hopes for this location. So, last week, you may recall, we were at Immaculate Conception Church, and how I told you how 100 years ago this week, they broke the ground to build that church. It was, in a sense, a church plant out of St. Peter's. St. Peter's was the first Catholic church in Dartmouth, and then they formed Immaculate Conception out of that church because of the development of industry in the Woodside area. So that was in 1921 that happened. In 1931, St. Paul's Parish was founded. And St. Paul's Parish was founded out of St. Peter's as well. This week, tomorrow, as I record this, and perhaps you're watching this on Tuesday, it will be the Feast of St. Peter and St. Paul. So we're back having weekday Mass in all of our churches, and we will be having Mass tomorrow in the Church of St. Paul's. It's a fitting feast day to celebrate Mass at St. Paul's Church. So think about this. So St. Paul's Church was founded in 1931. There had been a growing Catholic population in that part of Dartmouth during the First World War, because of the shipyards and the shipping that was coming in. Of course, a lot of that community was literally wiped out, or at worst, made homeless at best with the Halifax explosion. If you ever go down that far to the waterfront, you'll see that the Halifax side is just like a short swim, and you're there. And of course, that's exactly where the ship exploded. Now, St. Paul's, founded in 1931. In 1948, 17 years later, the Catholic population in Dartmouth had grown so much, especially during the Second World War. Shannon Park area had filled up with people, growing Catholic population. St. Paul's couldn't hold them anymore, and so a group of St. Paul's parishioners walked up the road, 800 meters to be precise, and they built the building behind me. The building that says St. Anthony's Hall. That was the first church built in 1948. So I want to take you on a little walk so we can look more closely at this location, because I know that for many of you, our other locations tend to be a bit veiled in mystery because we don't often venture too far outside of our community. So let's do a little venturing of our own, shall we? Now, this park I'm in, it's a beautiful park. Actually, I don't know the name of the park. I should check that out on Google. But some of the great landmarks that I can see from here, I can see the Halifax shipyard on the Irving shipyard on the Halifax side. We have a power grid, one of the major power grids, and we have the smokestacks, the famous smokestacks, a great landmark. And whenever I'm in Halifax and I look over at the smokestacks, I always think of St. Anthony's Church. I think this power station and this power grid are a great reminder that church and faith is supposed to be about living the power of the gospel, living in the power of God's Spirit. So as we approach the property, we're gonna cross over Farrell Street, and the street on the other side of the block is Courtney Road, and it's actually the mailing address of the church. The new church faces Courtney, the old church faced Farrell Street. So this is the building that was built in 1953. Father Neary, Henry Neary, was the mission priest who came from St. Paul's to say Mass here. And I've got an image of all the pastors down through the ages. Now, I always kind of laugh a little bit that as Catholics, we frame our whole history. We often frame our history as priests and buildings, but there you have it in this image. It's priests and buildings. So this is St. Anthony's Hall. It became the hall in 1973. It was in the 50th anniversary of the opening of this parish, they built the new church, but more about that a little later. The rectory, this is one of our 13 buildings, the rectory. For the last year and a half, you've heard us speaking about the House of Hope. Well, this is the House of Hope. We currently have, I think, 2 or 3 men living here. There's a capacity for 4 or 5 men to live in community. They are men of faith who are seeking to overcome addictions, and we are supporting this enterprise as a parish. They pay a rent to the parish. They live in community. Now, back to the parish hall, the old church. There's a lot of things that have been going on in the hall. If you come by here on a Thursday morning, you will find crowds of people lined up here because this is where we house the new North Dartmouth Christian Food Bank. The food bank that used to be entirely operated by First Baptist Church and run out of the church there. First Baptist Church in Dartmouth sold their building. They're building a new location. They were homeless. They came to us, and many of you know this story, they came to us to ask if they could rent our building, and we said, no, we're not going to charge you to feed the poor. We'll give you the building. We'll let you use the building rather, not give the building. We'll let you use the building as long as you let us do it with you. Let's share the costs together, and let's grow this together. And so we, last year, put in quite a bit of money renovating the upstairs. We had to fix the roof anyway. There was a really bad leak in the roof that was due to be fixed. And so we cleaned up upstairs. We created more space. We had to increase the wiring and refrigeration. And now, several times a week, the food bank works here. But we have the food bank upstairs, and then we also have a gathering space. And at least once a week, a community group meet here to go through a faith-based 12-step program that's open to members of the community. It's called Life's Healing Choices, and it's a beautiful program. We used to run this program in my last parish. Bishop Curry comes in, volunteers here. So do quite a number of our parishioners. And we're going to be hopefully increasing the number of parishioners who are involved here. By the way, that program I told you about, Celebrate Recovery, right there. Through this door, everyone welcome. Also in the basement here, many of you know the Franciscans of Halifax. Brother Nathaniel, who became Father Nathaniel, used to be here at St. Anthony's site. The Franciscans of Halifax run a furniture bank out of the basement. So there's still a lot of furniture there, and they still take this furniture to people in need all over the city, all over HRM, and sometimes even outside of HRM. In the basement of the glebe is actually Halifax Community Chaplaincy, and basically they work for prisoner reintegration. They give the parish a nominal monthly allowance for rent, but they work outside of the basement. So just think about that for a second. We've got 12-step recovery program that's specifically faith-based, Christian faith-based. We've got the faith-based food bank in partnership with Feed Nova Scotia and with First Baptist. We've got community chaplaincy. We've got the House of Hope. It's quite incredible what is going on in this location. And then we have the church building. This is the church that was built in 1973. It also houses the St. Faustina Polish Mission. An actual parish, was one of the parishes that became part of Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish. And some of you may have heard me reference the fact that our parish is an amalgamation of 5, and you might be thinking, what's he talking about? There's only 4. Actually, it's 5 because it was Immaculate Conception, St. Peter's, St. Paul's, St. Anthony's, and the Polish Mission. And they meet here on Sundays for Mass. There's a community of anywhere between 60 to 80 people who meet here during the week. Also, once a month, there's a community of Ukrainian Catholics who have Mass here as well. So there's a fair amount going on in this location. Now, here's the thing. Many of you know that a week from this coming Monday, a week today as we record, Jennifer Dean is starting her employment in the parish as the social outreach coordinator. And although she's going to be here to support all of the outreach activities presently going on in our parish, and we've got a lot going on at the St. Peter's location and activities that originated from the other churches. So there's lots of things going on. But you know, what's unique to this space is the fact that, according to statistics, this part of Dartmouth is the lowest income area in all of Atlantic Canada. So we have, in a sense, the greatest need, the greatest poverty in all of Atlantic Canada right here in our parish boundaries. And the question for us at Our Lady of Guadalupe is, what does that mean for us? How is that going to change what we do? And it was with that in question that we had a vision of how we could use this location. I mean, just a quick sweep of this space. You see the three buildings here. There's a lot going on already, but there could be a lot more going on. Because the thing is, eventually we're going to be, the likelihood of us having, more than one place for Sunday Mass is very, very slim, which means that we could use this space as a chapel for weekday Mass. But there's a lot of space here that we could, with some imagination, put to other uses to help the poor. I don't know. All I know is that when Jen begins, her job is to help create a vision for what can be done here. You see, in the past, churches often did their own thing, parishes did their own thing. But if we, as the Church of Jesus Christ, are going to reach out and make a difference in our communities, we have to do it together. So partnerships with other churches, with other parishes, and even community groups are definitely in order. So speaking of Jen, I said she's starting next Monday, but we actually have Jen and Nolan, our Alpha and Connections Coordinator, and our new office manager, Brenda Marquez, are all starting on Monday as well. Deacon David is not starting until July 28th, but he's going to be with us Monday and Tuesday, because Monday and Tuesday we are having staff orientation day. It's going to be a day of workshops, conversations, discussion, prayer, and some fun thrown in. So that's Monday and Tuesday. So a lot of the regular parish stuff won't be happening. We're still having Mass, Immaculate Conception on Monday, and St. Paul's on Tuesday, to be sure. Speaking of this week, we know that Thursday is a holiday, Canada Day. And we made a decision this morning. Look, things have been crazy. They've been crazy busy. And we don't have any volunteers for Friday for the office. So Friday, the office is going to be closed, okay? So Thursday and Friday this week, the office will be closed. There'll still be Mass in the morning. Father Rob, next week, Tuesday is his final day before he goes on vacation. And then after that, he'll be back for a week around the weekend of the 23rd, 24th, 25th of July, that final weekend before he leaves to go to his new parish. So Father Rob is preaching this weekend. You'll get a chance to see him. And we're up to hopefully 100 people coming into Mass. This weekend we had a limit of 50, and we had a total of about 164 people were at church. So that's not so bad for a limit of 50 people. On Sunday afternoon, this past Sunday, I did an interview with Father Rob in the church on video. It's a chance to ask questions, for you to ask your questions. So it was a really great conversation, so please check that out as well on our YouTube channel. And I'm going to cheat now and take a peek at my phone to see if there's anything that I have missed that I was supposed to tell you about. So let me just look here. Got that, we got that done, we got that, and we got that, and that, and that, and that. It's all done, except one final thing. I'm going to invite you to please pray. Again, I come back to the fact, we had Mass this morning at Immaculate Conception, the first time, reopening the church again, and it's such a beautiful place. And it was great to see there were about 28 parishioners there. People have historic connections with different physical locations, and it was great to see people coming together as one community, and I'm encouraging people to come. Let's go and go on pilgrimage, in a sense, and go and pray and celebrate the Eucharist in each of these sacred buildings around our parish. So thank you for that, and I encourage you to keep going. And let's continue to pray. Look, these are difficult times, and it's very easy for us to not give each other the benefit of the doubt. So let's continue to be patient with one another and to pray as we move forward. God bless you, and I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. Oh, it's good.